it's Coach Pryor here at the Coach's Classroom. We're going to go over real quick. We were talking a little bit about the hitting mental tips, and we went through this list on the last video, and we're going to move over and give you a couple examples of flush it, ABC, WTMP, and 200 foot. This just give you a little bit of an example of what we use here with my high school team, some of how we focus in on certain things and how we approach the game. So let's start right off with flush it. Flush it is kind of, it's something that I picked up from Brian Kane and a few others that use the flush it concept. And the idea here is with high school is that it's kind of like building a negative wall. You know, when you miss a ground ball or you have some bad stuff happening, and you put that mental brick in front of you of failure or not being successful, what we want to do is want to flush it and remove that, knock that brick away, flush it, just move it, remove it. The problem is with a lot of young players mentally, they get that mental brick in front of them, that negative brick, and then they lay another brick and another brick and another brick. So if you can imagine having, missed a ground ball, struck out, they K'd here, they had an error here, another brick, they missed a fly ball, struck out again, and it's just a never-ending thing, and we keep getting this wall, and we're standing over here, and next thing you know, we got this big wall all the way up in front of us of negative stuff, and we built this wall up where it's really hard to dig yourself out or even get through that wall, and it takes a lot of work to hammer and chisel that mental wall that you've put up in front of you. So what we want to do is as we get a negative brick, we just want to flush it. We want to let it go, cut it loose, and move on. Move on to the next pitch, which kind of leads into the next thing. Win the next pitch. Have an attitude of win the next pitch. You've heard it. Everybody's heard it. Play the game one pitch at a time. Now, that's easier said than done. And we talk a lot about WTMP here, win the next pitch. Hey, you get a strike on you? Okay, can you do anything about that? Absolutely not. It's in the past. Move on to the future. Stay in the present. Play in the present. And that's pretty much one pitch at a time. And work at your best 100% of your ability to win the next pitch. You get a strike on you, great. You got two more. Work on the next pitch. And so on and so forth. That could be the same thing for pitching, fielding, outfit, whatever the part of the game that you're involved in, win the next pitch. That's also a life lesson. Life is going to be difficult. So same thing. You get up in the morning, win the next pitch, win the next morning, win the next afternoon, win the next 5 minutes, win the next 30 minutes, win the next 6 hours, 1 hour, however you want to chop it up. But once you start biting it down into smaller pieces, it becomes a lot more manageable and a lot easier to facilitate success with a lot of little successes versus trying to go and tackle and eat the whole hog in one bite. Very difficult to do, especially in this game, because there's a lot of moving parts, it's very technical, and it's a large process that takes time. So win the next pitch and flush it are very important, and those are words that we like our parents to use, to have that kind of dialect with players. Hey, WTMP. Or a lot of times with our little kids, we talk about flush it. Okay, with our little kids, we talk more about, we talk a little bit differently with the younger ones. We talk a little bit of kind of like poop, and because they all associate, being little kids, poop is stinky, and kids have poor posture when they're upset. They're like this, and they're kicking the dirt. And when they're happy and they've done really well, their chest is out and they're walking with a stride and they're high-fiving. So we get the younger kids to, run that exercise. We ask them, hey, what does it look like when you had a lot of success? And they show us. And when you're not happy and you're striking out, how are you feeling? What does that look like? And they'll kind of show us. And we'll go, okay, that makes sense. Well, you know what? And then if you carry that kind of attitude, the poo-poo face, on the field, you start to stink up other things, and you maybe make more mistakes, and the people around you don't want to be around you because you stink. And then I always tell them it's kind of like poop. I said, you go to the toilet, you can flush it. All right, that's great because all the stink goes away. But what if we couldn't flush toilets? What if we had to actually scoop out our poop, carry it in a bag with us? You'd be stinking. You wouldn't want to be around your friends. Your friends wouldn't want to be around you because you're stinking up the place, all right, until you got rid of that poop, all right? So It's kind of like, we tell the kids, don't stink up the place by having a poo-poo face after you make an error. We just say, hey, look, WTMP and flush it, all right? We literally get the parents behind us, especially with like our 7 and 8-year-olds. They make a mistake, you'll hear parents screaming from the sidelines, flush it, all right? Because we want something positive to them. Just staying on this a little bit, little guys, they know, believe it or not, they're smart enough, all right? They're playing baseball, and they know that they got to catch the ball, field the ball, throw the ball, got to hit the ball and run, okay? They get the concept of all that. So when they miss a ball, they don't need a parent going, hey, Johnny, you got to catch that ball. Johnny knows he's got to catch the ball because he's playing baseball, all right? He doesn't need you telling him to catch the ball, okay? So that doesn't do really a bit of good for anybody. So really being able to tell them, hey, flush it, move on to the next one, refocus, reset, have a higher level of focus, have relaxed focus, and move on, and we'll get the next one, all right? We've got to build the kids up, build their confidence, have a support network so that the kids can perform. So with the younger guys, we kind of play, the poop game, poo-poo faces and all that kind of stuff, and change your face. We do that with them. And then with the older guys, we talk about the mental bricks, knocking down the wall and keeping the wall knocked down so that we can have success. Last one that I'll mention here, actually ABC, we do this a lot of times with our pitchers. ABC is act confident. Act confident, that's kind of the fake it till you make it, act confident. We want you to breathe, and we want you to commit to the target or the ball if you're hitting. So we want to act confident. We're up there. We know we're going to do our business. We expect to succeed. We're confident. We're going to breathe. So the breathing actually relaxes us, and we want to commit to the target and to the ball. Okay? And then the last one that we use is 200 feet. 200 feet I like because we'll tell people, hey, we're starting in the dead of dark. We're right here at Bishop. We're going to leave Bishop at 8 o'clock at night, and we know it's going to be pitch dark, and we're going to drive to LA. Now, I asked the players, hey, can we actually get from Bishop to LA, traveling in the darkness of night? And the players will kind of look at me like I'm crazy, and I go, well, how would we do that? And I get, hey, get in the car, start the car. And they'll kind of fumble around. And then eventually somebody will get smart. There's always one guy that's sharper than the rest of them in the crayon box, and he'll say, you need to turn on the lights, coach. So we're going to turn on our headlights. So we turn on our headlights, and we can actually see 200 feet down the road. And we're going to travel 200 feet at a time. 200 feet, and we're going to start another 200 feet, and we're going to start a new 200 feet. And as we go in increments of 200 feet at night, with as far as our lights will shine, we slowly get down that road and down that path, and next thing you know, we're sitting in LA. So the point with 200 feet is to travel and to train and to focus and to have a mental game at 200 feet. Focus on 200 feet at a time, travel, get there, travel your next 200 feet. Again, breaking the game down into smaller increments so that you can actually see where you're going, what you're accomplishing, and how you're going to get there. So these are just a few mental examples of kind of putting some things in there that can kind of position how your players will approach their training, approach the games, getting some parents on board at the younger levels with things like ABC and Flush It, WTNP. These are all things that we get into with the younger groups as well. We don't get into a lot of detail mentally. We really focus in on them taking responsibility for their actions, make them focus on the core four, and we'll throw in usually Flush It at the younger levels. So these are just a few examples of the mental tips that you can use within your team. And again, there'll be more stuff throughout the website that you'll be able to grab a hold of. You may find some of your own or some quotes that you like and just kind of make it your own. Again, this is Coach Pryor with a Coach's Classroom.